I'm Liz Faublis, and this is Currents. The Diocese of Brooklyn gets 2 new auxiliary bishops.
2 new bishops that have been appointed. They're bishops-elect, Monsignor Sanchez and Monsignor Geppetto, who the Holy Father has appointed to be auxiliary bishops of the Diocese of Brooklyn.
We sit down with both men to talk about the exciting news.
Very gentle voice, accented. He said, "Is this Monsignor Sanchez?" I said, "Yes, he said, "This is the Apostolic Nuncio."
Plus, conflicting reports on the movements of a blind Chinese human rights activist. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Big news today. Pope Benedict has appointed 2 new auxiliary bishops for the Diocese of Brooklyn. The Holy Father has chosen Monsignors Raymond Geppetto and Paul Sanchez to fill the roles. The announcement came early this morning on the diocese website, and the 2 men later spoke at a news conference at the diocese headquarters here in Windsor Terrace.
Thank you very much. I want to welcome you here this morning, and first want to express my thanks to our Holy Father, Pope Benedict XVI, for looking at the needs of the Diocese of Brooklyn and appointing 2 priests to be auxiliary bishops here in this diocese. We're here today to welcome 2 new bishops that have been appointed. They're bishops-elect, Monsignor Sanchez and Monsignor Geppetto, priests of the Diocese of Brooklyn, who the Holy Father has appointed to be auxiliary bishops.
It is with deep gratitude to God and with sincere humility before God's people that I have accepted the appointment by Pope Benedict as an auxiliary bishop of this great Diocese of Brooklyn. I was so overwhelmed, I couldn't tell anybody, so I had to keep it to myself. It takes time to process it because it's something completely different, something completely unexpected, so I still haven't processed it yet.
I think that I'm in shock still, and it certainly has been an interesting week. I will say I went to my cell, and my life passed before me. I mean, I'm overjoyed. It's been a spiritual blessing. You know, it's a memory. It's a moment that I know will support me. I know that God will continue to allow me to draw off the strength of this moment.
Both Monsignor Geppetto and Monsignor Sanchez have been working closely with me over the years, and I'm very happy that the Holy Father recognized their virtue and their ability, appointing them auxiliary bishops here in Brooklyn. We're very happy to have 2 men that are seasoned, that are members of the diocese lifelong, know the diocese, that can help me in this great task of administration and pastoral care.
One of the things I said to him is how proud his parents probably are if they were here to really experience this with him, because, and his response was, they always were my biggest fans. So, it's an incredible experience, and we have a great relationship. So obviously that'll continue, even though he will be much busier.
He's a man I've known for many years, and he's extremely humble. I've seen him working with his brother, who is a disabled person, and I've seen him on his hands and knees tying his shoelaces. This is the type of individual he is. He's a real people person, and he'll be a big asset to this diocese.
I was so happy about it. I mean, they're great priests, and I know both of them very well. I work with them here in the Chancery, but I don't think the Holy Father and our bishop could have picked 2 better priests to be auxiliary bishops for our diocese. It's a great honor. It's a great honor for them, and it's a great honor for our diocese.
And congratulations to Bishops-elect Geppetto and Sanchez. The 2 men are likely well known to Catholics throughout the diocese. Bishop-elect Geppetto was ordained to the priesthood in 1971 here in Brooklyn. He served in many roles, including assignments at parishes throughout the boroughs of Brooklyn and Queens. Previously the Episcopal Vicar for Brooklyn West, he currently serves as pastor at Our Lady of the Snows in Floral Park. Now, Bishop-elect Sanchez was ordained to the priesthood in 1971 as well in Rome by future Cardinal James Hickey. He too has served at parishes in Brooklyn and Queens, most recently as pastor of Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Astoria, before being named vicar for Queens North in June of 2008. Bishop DiMarcio will ordain both men bishops on July 11th at a Mass of Episcopal Ordination at Our Lady of Angels Church in Bay Ridge. We will have much more on this later in the show when we sit down for an exclusive interview with the bishops-elect. Stay tuned. The rest of the day's headlines next. Welcome back to Currents. I'm Liz Faublas. Our top story today, Pope Benedict has appointed 2 new auxiliary bishops for the Brooklyn Diocese. The Holy Father selected Monsignors Raymond Geppetto and Paul Sanchez to fill those roles. We'll have an exclusive interview with both men just ahead. First, in other news, the blind Chinese activist who escaped house arrest last week has been reunited with his family. U.S. officials say Chen Guangcheng left the U.S. Embassy in Beijing today. A friend of Cheng confirms his departure but says it was not of his own choosing. Cheng was reportedly forced to leave after local authorities threatened violence against his wife if he remained at the embassy. Cheng released the video you're seeing here on YouTube shortly after escaping house arrest. Now, in it, he details the violence he and his family endured at the hands of authorities. The activist has been an outspoken opponent of alleged human rights violations in China, including forced abortion and sterilization as part of the country's policy of allowing 1 child per family. Well, the news comes as Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner were scheduled to meet this week with Chinese leaders. Elsewhere, the top 2 church officials in Nigeria say the government there is too weak to deal with threats from Islamists. Speaking with the Catholic charity Aid to the Church in Need, the archbishops that is, of Jos and Abuja say they have lost patience with the government's efforts to handle the situation. Since the beginning of the year, the Islamist group Boko Haram has been targeting Christians in northern Nigeria. In a separate interview with Vatican Radio, the Archbishop of Jos says people are on edge.
Certainly, people are afraid. We say in Nigeria, you sleep with only one eye closed, which means you are not sure what is likely to happen. So you are always on the alert. People are afraid to go to market, go to school, go to public places, because you don't know what one crazy person will do. There is definitely a sense of fear, apprehension, and also tension.
And the Archbishop, who is also the president of the Nigerian Bishops' Conference, spoke with Vatican Radio following weekend attacks at 2 Christian services that killed at least 21 people. In other news, a 3-day meeting examining the work of a popular 20th century pope has concluded. Rome Reports has those details.
50 years ago, Pope John XXIII published an encyclical titled Pacem in Terris, meaning peace on earth. But now, decades later, the Pontifical Academy of Social Sciences discuss why its message is still relevant.
Well, we have had economics of liberty, politics of equality, fraternity has been forgotten. It's almost fallen off the agenda.
The encyclical calls on all people to reassess their economic, political, and cultural structures. In fact, the encyclical broke ground by calling on people of goodwill, regardless of their ideological or religious divisions, to promote the common good. Human beings are the element, the one principle that developed the foundation for a true social order. And now that the world is facing a widespread economic crisis, the issue of having a global world authority was also discussed.
When people hear the word, literally the 2 words, global authority, they decode it as world government. And no, this is not what we are talking about. The United Nations may be the best thing that we've got, but it is not the model for future government.
And so, to discuss the issue even further, the Academy of Social Sciences is currently planning a workshop to evaluate the concept of governance and so-called global solidarity.
And among those in attendance at the meeting, Wikipedia founder Jimmy Wales, who told Catholic news agency that Pope John XXIII's thinking was, quote, quite modern and up to date. Pope Benedict has donated $250,000 to the Personal Ordinariate in England. The Ordinariate is a structure by which Anglicans can convert to the Catholic Church while maintaining some of their traditions. The head of the English Ordinariate says he was very grateful to the Pope for his generosity and support. The English Ordinariate represents 1,200 lay people and 60 clergy. Checking out a new survey for you, data from the Public Religion Research Institute shows many Americans 18 to 24 leave the religion of their childhood. Now, if we dig deeper, we find 11% of the so-called millennials were religiously unaffiliated in their childhood, while a quarter of people in that age group currently identify as religiously unaffiliated. The survey was conducted by the Public Religion Research Institute and the Berkeley Center for Religion, Peace, and World Affairs at Georgetown University. Well, a separate study shows that Mormonism is the fastest growing faith in more than half the states in the U.S. The Religious Congregations and Membership Study shows Mormonism is growing faster than other religions in 26 states. It's up by 2 million people over the last decade. Figures show Islam came in second, growing by 1 million members over the last 10 years. Catholics, though, still the country's largest religious group with around 59 million people across the U.S. Well, Catholic University of America has announced that New York's Cardinal Timothy Dolan will speak at the school's spring commencement. Catholic U will present Cardinal Dolan with its President's Medal. The Cardinal is a graduate of the school, having earned a doctorate in church history there. The commencement will take place on Saturday, on May 12th, on the steps of the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception in Washington, D.C. A priest who was martyred during the French Revolution has been beatified. According to the website Catholic Culture, Father Pierre-Adrien Toulorge was sentenced to death during the French Revolution. Now, the priest was said to have discouraged a nun arrested with him from crying, saying that it would set a bad example. The beatification ceremony took place this past weekend in France. It was celebrated by Cardinal Angelo Amato, the prefect of the Congregation for the Cause of Saints. Stay tuned. There's more currents ahead. Coming up, meet Brooklyn's newest bishops-elect.
Each bishop is given custody of a see someplace in the world, and certainly it's to be in union with them through prayer and through whatever type of support that each bishop can give.
Welcome back. Recapping our top story, Pope Benedict has named 2 men auxiliary bishops for the Diocese of Brooklyn. The Holy Father has selected Monsignors Raymond Geppetto and Paul Sanchez as the 2 newest auxiliaries for the diocese. Brooklyn Bishop Nicholas DiMarcio will ordain the 2 men as bishops at Our Lady of Angels Church in Bay Ridge on July 11th. Now, earlier today, our news director, Ed Wilkinson, spoke with the bishops-elect in an exclusive interview.
Well, Bishop-elect Geppetto, Bishop-elect Sanchez, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
A wonderful day. It's a day the whole diocese rejoices in, and we celebrate. What was your immediate reaction, Bishop Ray, when you heard that you were going to be a bishop, and how did you hear?
I received a telephone call last week from the Apostolic Nuncio informing me that I had been appointed by the Pope. I didn't know what to think at first. I was so surprised, just so totally overwhelmed, so grateful to the Pope, and very humbled by it. And
what did you think when you heard the nuncio was on the phone to talk to you? What did you think it was about?
Well, I knew he wasn't calling me just to say hello, but I had to hear it from him. I had to know what he wanted, and then when he told me, I was very grateful to God and grateful to him.
Sure. Were you surprised?
I was surprised. I had no idea it was coming. It was a great gift from God and from the church.
And Bishop Paul, how about yourself? When did you how did you find out through the nuncio also?
I did. It was a phone call on my cell phone on Wednesday morning, the Feast of St. Mark, at about 9:30 in the morning, and in a very gentle voice, accented, he said, "Is this Monsignor Sanchez?" I said, "Yes." He said, "This is the Apostolic Nuncio." And the first thing that went through my mind is this the Apostolic Nuncio, or is this a priest friend of mine pretending that he's the Apostolic?
Yes, right.
He said, "I want you to know the Holy Father has appointed you auxiliary bishop of Brooklyn." And he said, I'm sure that you will be happy to accept that ministry.
Wow.
And then he went on to say about keeping it secret and told me what my titulacy was, and he said he would be in contact with Bishop DiMarzio.
Okay, where is your titulacy?
It's in Algeria.
Okay.
I believe it's pronounced Cheliana.
Why don't you explain what a titulacy is to our viewers who may not be familiar with this?
Well, my understanding is that each bishop is given custody of a see someplace in the world, and certainly it's to be in union with them through prayer and through whatever type of support that each bishop can give.
And Bishop Ray, where is your titulacy?
In Turkey. It's called CZO in Turkey.
Had you ever heard of it?
Never heard of it before.
So when did you get to then link up with Bishop DiMarzio and discuss this with him?
Well, on Wednesday, he cornered the two of us and told us that he had already been informed and that we should be prepared to meet with him someday later in the week to go over details, and he would explain more to us at that time. So he met with us and he gave us a lot of information that was useful.
Did he give you any good advice? Bishop Paul, he must have given you some advice.
Well, I think the most touching thing is that actually both of us met Bishop DiMarzio right before the funeral of Monsignor Tom Graham on that same day, Wednesday. And about maybe later that day, Joanne, Bishop's secretary, said, invited us to the bishop's residence to concelebrate Mass with the bishop on Friday morning at 8 o'clock. So that was a special moment, being in his private chapel. And I have to tell you that we parked in the backyard. We were both early. We didn't want to ring his bell. He came out to get us. And we were probably both praying the office in our separate cars. And we stepped out of the car, and the first thing we saw was an outdoor statue of Our Lady of Mount Carmel that a friend of the bishop's had placed in the backyard of the residence. And the bishop said, Bishop Geppetto baptized in Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and I of course was pastor there for 7 years. So.
And were you aware that that each other had been named at that point? You already knew that there were two of you, and you were each other. Yeah. Have you spoken to any of the other auxiliary bishops?
Yes, yesterday I received a call from Bishop Cisneros and Bishop Caggiano. Both of them called me yesterday and to congratulate me and to offer their support and their help.
And Bishop Paul?
I received calls from both of them as well yesterday, and it was very touching, very supportive, and I guess among other things, they said, your life will change.
I'm sure it will. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be right back and talk a little bit about how that world has changed for you, okay?
Thank you.
Stay with us. We have much more on today's big news straight ahead. When we return, the bishops-elect talk about what lies ahead in their new roles.
Well, Bishop DiMarzio asked me to continue to be a pastor and also to continue to be the vicar for clergy and consecrated life. And so I'll obviously continue those two roles.
The Brooklyn Diocese will soon have 2 new bishops. Today, Pope Benedict named Monsignors Paul Sanchez and Raymond Geppetto as the diocese's newest auxiliaries. Bishop DiMarzio will ordain the 2 men as bishops in a Mass of Episcopal ordination, which will take place on July 11th at Our Lady of Angels Church in Bay Ridge. Here now is part 2 of our exclusive interview with the bishops-elect.
Okay, well, welcome back. We're talking about how your life has changed in an instant like that. I just want to talk about the secret, first of all, for a while, because you sworn to secrecy when you first find out. When are you able to tell your family about it, Bishop Ray?
Bishop DiMarzio said that I could tell my family ahead of time, and I did do that, and they were so overjoyed and so happy for me. It was a very wonderful moment for me to tell them and share that news with them.
Yeah. How about the people in the parish? Are they aware of it yet?
Well, this morning I told the principal of the school, and she gathered all the children in the schoolyard, and announced it over the loudspeaker to them this morning. So word will travel very quickly through the parish.
Oh, I'm sure by the time you get home today. Yeah. And Bishop Paul, how about yourself? You spoke with your family, people in your family?
I did. My sister lives on Long Island with my brother-in-law, Marie and Larry. So because the bishop was gracious enough to invite them to the press conference later, I wanted to give them due notice to give them their schedule, set their schedule up. So they're going to be here this morning. And I told you when Archbishop Vigano said, I'm sure that you will be happy to be a minister to minister as an auxiliary bishop. When my sister picked up the phone, I told her that I was named the bishop, and she said, "Are you happy?" So I found it curious that the Archbishop and my sister chose the same adjective.
And what did you say to her?
I said I'm happy, but I'm feeling in shock.
Sure, sure, yeah. So what do you, as auxiliary bishops, I mean, you'll still be a pastor. You were just named to St. Kevin's Parish in Flushing, right?
Yes.
But what will be your role as an auxiliary bishop?
Well, Bishop DiMarzio asked me to continue to be a pastor and also to continue to be the vicar for clergy and consecrated life. And so I'll obviously continue those two roles and do whatever he needs done in the diocese, helping him with confirmations and helping him with ceremonies or whatever he asked me to do. I'll try to help him out as much as I can.
And Bishop Paul, you're right now you're working in the Chancery Building as an Episcopal vicar. And how do you see the transition from being a vicar to an auxiliary bishop?
No, I think it will be fairly easy. Actually, you know, being a vicar for the past 4 years has been a tremendous asset. Of course, Bishop Bray has served as a vicar.
Yeah.
And asset in the sense that it really opens your eyes to the needs of the diocese, and it's been a great blessing. And so I think it was a good foundation for me to serve as auxiliary bishop.
Sure.
What awaits me, I'm open to whatever happens. The bishop will, I'm sure, you know, have plenty of work for us to do.
This is a time of great change in the diocese. Everything is changing, you know, even the population, demographics, parishes. What do you see as the primary needs right now of the diocese, Bishop Ray?
I think just continuing the work of the new evangelization obviously is the greatest need, and preparing for the Year of Faith. This is an important part of the life of the diocese, is to celebrate with the whole church the Year of Faith, starting in October.
Right.
And meet the current needs, day-to-day needs of the diocese.
And last word, Bishop Paul, what do you think is the primary interest of the diocese right now?
Well, certainly what Bishop Bray said, I affirm. I think I'd like to also, you know, it's funny when we celebrated Mass with the bishop, I prayed for the priests of the diocese and Bishop Bray prayed for the seminarians. I would like to think that we could certainly support the priests. They're on the front line, and the seminarians who are, you know, our future. So I look forward to working with both groups.
Well, thanks so much for taking some time out today and being with us. Congratulations, best of luck, and we look forward to covering the ordination as bishops in July. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
And again, we congratulate Bishops-elect Sanchez and Geppetto and wish them all the best in their new roles. We will certainly keep them both in our prayers, and be sure to visit our website, currentsny.net, where you can watch our two-part exclusive interview. Now, that is all for this edition of Currents. Coming up tomorrow, single and Catholic. Is it time to panic? We'll get some answers. For all of us here at Currents, I'm Liz Faublis. Thank you for watching, and have a good night. I'm Liz Faublas. Tonight on Currents, Catholic colleges commenced the spring semester with controversy over graduation speakers at a couple of schools. Plus, still single? Is it time to panic? Those stories and the rest of the day's headlines tonight on Currents.